Hey, we're gonna do a quick outside view with a guide, and then we'll go back through, and I'll just let the cockpit play. So we'll do that. I'm gonna break around the aero board. You'll see in cockpit the front of the hood is looking at this point right here, but braking just at the aero board. I'm going to carry my trail brake all the way through and wait for power a little bit later than you might think, so you don't push wide. It's okay to get your car on this curbing. It's okay to even get out a little bit more and have the right side of your car on this curbing. It's not going to be an off track as long as you're getting back over on the track. But you don't want to push out too wide because it starts to get bumpy and you can lose traction coming out of the corner. Here I'm looking at, there is a dip in the road around this point. I'm going to be braking just before the dip. I think the dip's right here. So just before the dip, this is kind of a rise that I'm on, and then it dips down. You want to be on brake before this rise, because if you try to start braking on the dip, you're going to lose a bit of braking traction because the car is it's unsprung, or the car is not forcing itself down into the track, so it's being lifted up by the dip that's about to happen. So brake before the dip. Hug this pretty tight. You want to be, if at all possible, on this white line when you're applying power. That way you can apply power and push out wide. This is the absolute limit for an off track right here. Any more over, and I'm going to get a 1x here. But in order to optimize your exit, you really need to be as close to the inside of this turn, preferably the late apex exit, as close as you can. It just opens up the ability to stay full power coming out of the exit. This gravel road is normally when I'm starting my liftoff. Light brake, downshift, hug the inside, back to full power. As soon as I get the car straightened out, I'm back on brake. I'm not braking super heavy. I have had more success fractionally by heavy braking into this zone, but it's more consistent to just, as soon as you get the wheel straightened, brake about that 80%, dig it in. I typically go down to first, and then right back to second when I'm applying power. I tried both. I felt that a quick downshift to first got the front end to bite and the rear end to rotate a little bit better, and then go back to second and full power, and I can really get a good drive out of the corner. I think either is fine, first or second. Again, there is another, whoop, did not mean to do that. There's another slight dip in the road where the color in the asphalt changes. I'm braking before that point. There's a white line you can reference in cockpit, but I'm braking before this dip, or at the dip, getting the car slowed down. I'm downshifting to third, cutting in. You can cut that a little bit more, but if the car bounces, it doesn't really get the grip for the corner, and it tends to want to push out wide into the grass. So I try not to jump this curbing at all, because I'm already pushing to the absolute limit. I don't really want to put a tire in the grass at all here. It delays throttle, loses momentum, And if you push out too wide in this point, it starts to get really bumpy, and there is a chance to get the car unsettled. As soon as I exit the curbing on the left, I'm on brake. I want to brake early and get my rotation in, keep it tight, trail brake, back to power, all the way wide. I'm braking just after the aero board here. There's not a meter marker to look at, but it's I don't know, maybe 20 meters, 15, 20 meters past the checkerboard. Rotating in, and I'm getting some throttle application coming out of the apex, and then I'm lifting while I'm over this rise, and then as soon as the car kind of settles, I'm back to power. Because if you are too aggressive as you're coming over this rise, the back end's going to want to kick out. So just be careful of that. And let's go through the cockpit, and then we'll be done. So I think the best that I could do is maybe 2 to 3 tenths off that. I think that's that, and that would be an absolute like perfect lap. But I think a high 29 is not unreasonable to ask for. Low 30s, mid 30s, I think is a great pace for the race. I think it's going to be not the easiest track to be consistent on, especially if there's any defense going on. But yeah, this is a 29.7. Excuse me, sorry. But yeah, I hope this helps anybody, honestly.